Hey, welcome to season 4, episode 7, the one with the permission pause. Now, today's episode is really speaking to those of you who find yourself rushing into business decisions and then changing your mind, which, by the way, is absolutely fine if you're doing it from an aligned space. So if you're a manifesting generator like I am, or if you're a manifester, we quite often change our minds. It's totally fine to do that. In fact, it doesn't matter what type you are, you get to change your mind when it comes to your business, as long as you're doing that from a space of strategy and from a space of this is correct and right for me, not chasing things or FOMO or anything like that. Now, this is a conversation that is ongoing with my members. I can't tell you how many times, at least once a week, I hear from members on Voxer Coaching Day coming to me saying, I'm about to pivot. I'm going to do this. I'm going to burn everything to the ground and I'm going to go XYZ. And they're super excited, right? They come to me and they're like, yeah, I'm really good to go. And I totally get it. I have done that many times where I have pivoted, burnt stuff to the ground, started from scratch, because the newness, the fresh energy that you get from starting is intoxicating. It's why when we are at the start of a relationship, right, we can't get enough of that person. But over time, that lessens. And this is what happens in business. And what we have to be careful and mindful of is that we're not simply changing our minds or changing direction because we're bored, right? That is like the worst space to be in your business. However, it does give you some insights, some data points for you to be able to make an informed decision. And that's what we should always be doing in our business, is coming at it from a space of this is the data and here is where I think I could move forward in. And sometimes that does mean burning things to the ground. Sometimes that does mean you need to do a slight pivot. But most times it simply means that you need to come at it from a different angle. So generally, what I say to my members, the advice that I give them, largely depends on them, right? Their personal situation, their human design, because the majority of my members are on the human design bandwagon, so I can layer in that. But for you beautiful people, I don't know that stuff about you. So instead, what I'm going to offer is what I call the pause protocol. And it's really simple. And I know you're going to be completely blown away when you hear how simple this actually is. So here is what the pause protocol is. Anytime you are rushing, like you feel like you have to move really quickly, I want you to instead imagine that you're taking a step back, like literally stand still, and you can do this, and actually just take a step back. And through the process of taking a step back, your entire body is now in pause mode, because you've taken a step back. Now, whether you do that physically, metaphorically, is entirely up to you. You could imagine it in your mind as well. As you do that, you're now going to ask yourself this question: is what I'm doing actually aligned with the things that are easy and fun for me? And then you're just going to kind of sit with that. Now, this is where I would pair this with my JST mindfulness practice, the Just Sit There. If you're not familiar with that, it's very simple. You set a timer for 30 minutes minimum, and you just sit there and you do nothing. It's really simple. And what generally happens is after the first 5 to 10 minutes, your brain is going to go all over the place and go through all the things that you could be doing. Or at the end of that 10 minutes, you will actually get into a very calm space. And that's where you can ask yourself those types of questions. Is what I'm planning actually easy and aligned for me? Is it easy and fun? Does this come naturally? Why am I doing this? Or you can ask yourself some really pointed questions when you step back and then you step into the JST practice. So that's generally what I recommend my members do. And that is the very simple pause protocol. like I said, this is not rocket science. I have done things in my business based on things being simple, based on simplicity. Because when you focus on simplicity and you focus on doing the things that are easy and fun for you, everything kind of just works. Like, I can't explain it to you other than you have to experience this for yourself. But you've got to make the commitment to doing the things that are easy and fun for you, to keeping things simple. Now, what you might think is simple might be complicated to somebody else. What I think is simple is often complicated to everybody else. And that's just because our levels of simple are unique to us. So when I say keep things simple, what does simple mean for you? And that always comes back to, what are the things that are easy and fun for you, right? I hope you're seeing a theme in these episodes. The whole point of this entire podcast is to continually remind you that things get to be easy and fun, particularly in your business, because it's your business. There is nobody else telling you what to do. Bottom line, your action step for today is to implement the pause protocol the next time that you feel yourself rushing into a business decision. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be a bad decision, but I just want you to make sure that you are doing things from a strategic, aligned place, and that you're not doing something simply because you're bored or you want a fresh start, or you've seen somebody else doing something and you're like, wow, I want to do that. I'm sick of this not working out. Sometimes we need to give something quite a bit of time for it to work. And you could be at that precipice of where you're about to just tip over into success, and then you go and burn everything to the ground. The amount of times that I have done that and the amount of times that I've seen people do that, and it breaks my heart, and I definitely don't want that for you. And that's it for today's Simple Success session. If you enjoyed this, and if you are wanting to dive into more about business alignment, strategy, doing things that are easy and fun, then your human design business chart is a really good place to start. Now, if you don't have that, you can head on over to hustleandgroove.com/chart and get your human design chart with a business flavor. Now, that is going to send you on a path of emails that are going to help you start that process of discovering what is actually easy and fun for you from a marketing perspective, from a content creation perspective, and really from an offer development perspective. So hustleandgroove.com/chart. And I will see you in the next episode, which is the final for this season. Take care.